going to learn about the covenant, because old men like me have things that happen in their families called the birth of grandchildren. Now, when a boy is born, we give the boy a bris. A bris means a covenant. The question is, what's the purpose of that covenant? There's an old question. Abraham was the first Jew, and he fulfilled the entire Torah before the Torah was given. He anticipated all the rules, including the rules against not wearing wool and linen together, including the rules on Shabbos that you're not allowed to carry in a non-Erev, that you have to make an Erev in order to be able to carry in a courtyard. And so if Abraham performed all of the mitzvahs before they were given, why did he wait till he was 99 years old in order to do the bris, in order to circumcise himself? This is such an important thing. We Jews give it to our children, our boys, at 8 days old. A girl is considered to be circumcised. You need not mutilate a girl. By the boy, it happens to be beneficial, physically and, of course, spiritually. Physically, children live longer, have less occurrence of a certain dread disease if they have a circumcision. Spiritually, it connects the man to God, so that when he dies, Abraham, who stands at the gateway of hell, sees if a boy was circumcised, he says, this one does not belong here. And so the circumcision saves the person from terrible, terrible affliction. And so, if that's the case, Abraham waited 99 years till he did it. All the while he was doing everything else. He was eating matzah, sitting in the sukkah, keeping Shabbos, wearing tefillin, tzitzis, all the things he did. Circumcision, he waited 99 years. That don't make sense. So there are three approaches. The famous prodigy of Vilnius, said that he wanted that his mitzvahs should be done because God said so. All mitzvahs of the Torah, if God would have commanded him, afterwards there would be nothing lost in the fact that he had practiced them for so many years. Because once God told him to do so, he was doing so because God said so. However, once you're circumcised, that's it. It's done. He couldn't redo it, and he wanted his doing of the bris done because God said so. I heard another explanation from a great rabbi in Detroit, and his take was as follows. The word for bris, the word for circumcision is bris. Bris means a covenant. Covenant implies two parties. If Abraham was doing this on his own, then that's not a real covenant. So he waited until God told him. Well, I have a third approach, that's the Hasidic approach. But I wish to talk about the first two. You can reverse the operation of circumcision. Not very well, but you can reverse it enough so that it does not appear as if you are circumcised. And so he could have done that, and then he would have been obligated to circumcise himself once more. Furthermore, there are two elements to the circumcision. One is taking off the large membrane, the other is the smaller, softer membrane. Abraham at least could have taken off the major membrane and left the smaller membrane to when God would command him. That would also would have been an option. So there are ways in which Abraham could have done at least part of it, or even all of it, and reversed it in order to do because God told him to do it. Second approach, covenant. Abraham did the whole Torah, studied the Torah. The Torah is called a covenant. If a covenant requires two parties, why didn't he wait with those things? And so we get to the Hasidic approach. Everything we do has a direct effect upon our personality. A mitzvah, if we do it right, affects our heart. It affects our mind. It purifies us in a way that we can't even believe and understand. The act of circumcision is not just an act in the physical, on the physical foreskin. It circumcises also what is called the foreskin of the heart, that the heart should feel and be passionate and love that which is necessary, which one should love, and reject that which one should reject, and do so for the proper motive. And that's very, very difficult. It's very difficult to become truly, truly devoted to God and devoted to mankind without your own selfishness. Selfishness, removal of selfishness, is called the circumcision of the heart. And it's almost impossible. For even when you do good things, there's the little eye that says, "Aha, look at me. I'm doing all these wonderful things. Look at the reward I'm going to get. There isn't enough in God's great world out there that he can give me for the good things that I do." That's the selfishness, the ego that the person has, even when the person is doing the most wonderful things. And that requires circumcision, so that the person do so out of the depth of truth, to do so because God said so. Now that is something which is impossible to do without God's assistance. And the covenant, the bris, aids us in purifying the heart totally. Those of you out there who believe that there is no forgiveness without some foreign body, you're all wet, you're crazy. You have to motivate yourself and do what's right, and then God will help you. But God has got to help you. And God, the creator of the universe, says that if you do the mitzvahs right, I will help you circumcise your heart so that you do things for the right reason, without the ego and the selfishness mixing in. But it's only when you do the mitzvah, the commandment that God has given. And so Abraham waited 99 years because he could only go so far in circumcising, making his heart true. But the ultimate truth of heart, the ultimate devotion, removal of ego and self, could only take place when God commanded him to do the circumcision. And when God commanded him, and Abraham did, he became circumcised, not just in his foreskin, but in his heart of hearts. And today, so can we.